Welcome back, my comrades. I am Victor Barasov, and I'm not going to be talking in this video due to the fact I had to record this quite late at night. Due to the fact Bethesda updated the game, it took a while for maintenance to stop and the game to come back up. And then Bethesda went, oh, here's some daily challenges for the new season, all around the pit. So I didn't even get a chance to relax and do it the next day. I had to all do it in one night due to the fact I was at work the next day. So yes, this is a silent video, but the next video will be with my voice. So I apologise for this one, guys. So I will leave you with this video and I bid you farewell until the next video.
Orlando is very charming, but to be honest with you, I'm not really sure why they're helping us.
If you see anyone struggling out in Appalachia, be sure to tell them about the WhiteSpring. There's times you gotta accept the cards you're dealt.
Now that that's settled, did Miss Rucker have any other requests?
I hear our new tenants have set up a clinic. The WhiteSpring is in shambles! A mess! How can I clean that which continues to dirty itself? Oh, these responders have gone too far!
Help with something for the clinic.
Oh, I see. Certainly.
And Sophie's starting her donation drive today.
The lovely Miss Wagner's charitable efforts. Yes, I hadn't forgotten.
Oh.
The better question is, what is right? Everything has run amok. Chaos. Chaos! The responders have taken over the WhiteSpring. Imagine all of the dirty footprints on the carpet, dust all over the tables, the horror. I am but a humble servant of the WhiteSpring Resort, dedicated to greeting each guest with pleasantries and candor. Or I was, back when our guests had class and decorum. It's some sort of relief effort for all of the refugees in and around Appalachia. If only there was a relief effort for my stress. That would be the enigmatic Orlando. They oversee the WhiteSpring and are allowing the responders to stay here, as well as their constituents.
Heard about what happened in Morgantown. I know
There's a
it was bad,
fine gentleman
but I'm
from
glad they
Pittsburgh
chose to send
who
me
has
somewhere
taken up
safe and not
residence
somewhere
here. Oh, he
like that.
Honestly, well, hello, darling. A pleasure to meet another guest of our fine establishment. I am Orlando, your host and management liaison. If you'll pardon me for just one moment, that will be all. Please give my regards to Ms. Rucker. If you are here for leisure, I regret to inform you that our regular resort activities are temporarily unavailable. However, If you are here for the refuge and the fine work of the lovely responders, I am delighted to welcome you on their behalf. Ah, perhaps you have not heard. The WhiteSpring is now home to the refuge, a place of safety and care for all in need. The refuge is being run by the responders, individuals committed to the well-being of their fellows. They founded the refuge in response to new waves of refugees coming to Appalachia, people in great need of help. Food, medical care, clothing, a place to sleep. All of these are available for those who need them.
All of those construction workers are up to. Look at what a mess they're making.
What a wonderful thing for you to ask, darling. I knew there was something special about you from the moment I saw you. As it happens, the responders are looking for volunteers to assist them in a particular outreach effort. Those industrious wonders have repaired a vertibird to full working order and are using it to make contact with more distant settlements. They've made allies with people in Pittsburgh. The locals call it the Pitt now, who seem to be in dire need of outside assistance. If you don't mind me saying so, you look like you can handle yourself. You might be just who they're looking for. Judging by what I've heard, it's an accurate one, sadly. Pittsburgh was bombed quite severely during the war. The poor individuals still living there have renamed it to better reflect its dreadful circumstances. Well, they'll be better able to explain the details, but I believe they're looking for fighters, actually. Their contacts in the pit are in something of a desperate situation, it seems, against a dangerous enemy. I hate the thought of you putting yourself in such danger, but it does appear to be for a good cause. Oh, you're terribly brave, aren't you, dear? Imagine if we all had such courage. Now, darling, before anybody bundles you off, the first thing you should do is introduce yourself to some of the responders. I just so happen to know a few in need of more local assistance, and helping them will earn you the other thing you'll need. That other thing, of course, being the ultrasight battery cells, which fuel the vertibird. Ultracells, if you prefer.
Oh, how are we going to accommodate so many guests? They aren't even...
Why, from me, of course. Rather, from the management via me, that is. When management heard the responders were restoring the vertibird, they wished to help. They provided the ultracells, and I suggested them to the responders as an alternative means of fueling the vertibird. Per management instructions, I distribute a quantity to certain individuals regularly. Management feels this encourages collective decision-making rather than stockpiling. I'm sure they'd be willing to part with them in exchange for your aid.
I got a veiled threat from Orlando the other day telling me they'd reprogram me if I'm not more positive.
I could not possibly speak to your experience, dear. It sounds remarkable to make such discoveries. All I can tell you is that the management provides them for the refuge. Regrettably, that is as much as I know of the matter. I might wager that whomever was behind the ultracell you discovered likely shared similar contacts with management at some point, but who can say?
Oh, how are we going to accommodate so many guests? They aren't even paying.
My dear, you must understand, much as I would like to, my responsibilities do not permit me to do so. I am but a humble employee of the management, and I distribute their resources as instructed to the letter. I hope you will not begrudge me my loyalty. I find myself quite fond of you already.
That Skippy guy's a little crazy, but I can't help but like him.
In an ideal world, darling, I'm sure they would. Sadly, this is not that world, and any reticence on their part is understandable. I don't want to speak for the responders, but I believe they may also see this as more for their union friends than for themselves. Your assistance with their more immediate concerns will ensure everyone benefits. Isn't that a good outcome?
Mr. Della Ripper.
Our lovely Ms. Rucker is the closest thing to a leader the refuge has, though I believe she's less than comfortable with the title. You can find her in their headquarters, beyond the dining area. The darling chef, Miss Rousseau, needs some assistance in the kitchen, I hear. And Ms. Wagner, over in the common area, is looking for donations. I'm sure your generosity will be well rewarded.
All of those construction workers are up to. Look at what a mess.
Wonderful. When you are finished with each of them, I recommend you speak with Mr. Skippy Rorich, the Pitt Union representative. I imagine he'll want... Do feel free to visit me at...
Mr. Della Ripper
My
only likes
dear...
to organize his stamps. Nothing else. Oh, if only he would dust those shelves of his.
Certainly. But of course, the WhiteSpring is home to a... However, a charming man with a...
I wish they'd tell us what all of those construction workers are up to.
I'll be delighted to explain what I can.
The work I do is extremely...
Oh, a bit of this, a bit of that, whatever they require. As you might imagine, the state of things prevents them from much travel. I go where they need me to go and see to what affairs they see fit. In this case, the WhiteSpring itself and the refuge. Think of me as a concierge, my dear. I'm here to improve your experience in whatever way you require. My role as liaison is to facilitate the needs of the responders and our guests and speak for the interests of management. That sounds terribly formal, I know, but in practical terms, it means I do what I can to keep the WhiteSpring livable and support the refuge. I oversee the robotic staff to attend to the former, and in the latter case, I arrange for the disbursement of resources from management. Food, medicine, materials. Management has considerable resources, which they are happy to donate. I handle those arrangements.
They'd reprogram me if I'm not more positive.
Darling, you can't imagine I would tell you a thing like that. A less trusting soul might think you were pumping me for information in the hopes of planning a heist. Of course, I know that's not why you ask, but you understand why I have to be rather secretive on this subject, don't you? Let's just say management wisely invested its wealth when such things mattered, and are now well equipped to be generous. Of course, there is very little I'm permitted to speak about, but ask away, dear. My dear, nothing would bring me more joy than to answer your questions. Your suspicions wound me. However, my employer values their privacy as highly as they value the fine work the responders are doing here. Suffice it to say, they are the owners of the WhiteSpring, as I believe I've mentioned.
Mr. Della Ripper only likes to
I am...
stamps. Nothing else. Oh, if only he would...
I'm afraid you may wish to ask the lovely Rucker those questions, darling, but I shall do my best. A wonderful idea, of course. It can be a beacon of hope for the unfortunates of Appalachia. And as I believe I mentioned, darling, the management are very positive on the effort and give it their full support. Actually, no, they didn't. That's no fault of theirs, darling. Nobody could have known the owners were still involved. Management has monitored the property, of course, and there have been scavengers before, but the robotic staff sufficed. Once aware the responders were establishing a permanent presence, management sent me to bestow their blessing and be their liaison. I I am ready. Me, dear?
I got a veiled threat from Orlando the other day.
Do I have an admirer? Flattery will get you everywhere, darling. That being said, there is little to tell, really. I am the WhiteSpring Management's liaison to the Responders' Refuge. It's a role I quite enjoy. It pleases me when I can be of service to others.
Oh, how are we going to accommodate so
I
many
don't
guests?
mean to be coy, dear.
Can't even
My
pay.
work is my life, as they say. It fills my time and fulfills me. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? Besides, don't you find a bit of mystery all the more compelling? If I bared my soul and told you everything, I'm sure you'd be terribly bored. If I remain an enigma, it might keep you coming back for more of these lovely chats. I can't imagine there's anything of interest to you there, dear. But you may ask.
Veiled threat from Orlando the other day telling me they'd reprogram me.
Oh, here and there, darling. I've been to lots of places before the management asked me to take over here. If you want to imagine a thrilling and intriguing story about my past, don't let me stop you, please.
To organize his stamps. Nothing else.
Can't wait for my tell-all autobiography. I can't blame you. Who knows when I'll find the time to write it? How about just a little dark secret of mine to tide you over? I'm not from anywhere interesting, actually. Nothing remarkable about my origins at all. Disappointing, isn't it, dear? That's why I usually let people imagine their own version of things. Keeps them interested. Working after a fashion. You must understand, dear, the management cannot travel as freely as most people can. In their stead, I have wandered far and wide, seeing to their interests and being their eyes and ears, hands too, as necessary. It had its good moments. I enjoy meeting new people, and much of the countryside is still beautiful, despite everything. But to be honest, my darling, it was a relief to come here to do this. It's been too long since I could remain in one place for a while. Promise me you won't get bored if I become a homebody. I'm getting used to a soft bed and clean
The
clothes.
WhiteSpring's decor is refined and decadent. Don't listen to any naysayers.
It is a lot of work to maintain the property.
Those raiders fight like hell. Maybe they're crazy enough to join an expedition.
Hey, sport. You wouldn't happen to be handy with an electro-compression spanner, would you? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you aren't. I invented the thing. Sorry to put you on the spot, kid. I'm Skippy Rorich. But you can call me Skip, Ro, Skippo, or whatever else you fancy. I'm here on behalf of the Union. We're a band of loose-knit freedom fighters from the Pit up north. We're looking to get our home back from a group of raiders called the Fanatics. Hoping Appalachia has some help to offer in that. The Pit is, well, it used to be Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now it's something else entirely, overrun by all manner and nasty. But it's our home, and we want to win it back, clean it up, and make it livable again. Oh, don't worry about that thing. Barely works anyway. Silly to bring it up. Oh, we're past the electro spanner. Consign it to the dustbin of history. I'm moving on to the hydrolo spanner. Much higher ceiling on that one. Not at all. Ask away. And I'll tell you everything you want to know. The Union is our grand experiment in human decency in the Pit. All the people working together to rebuild a place that most say ain't worth rebuilding. We fight the Fanatics, the Ferals, and any other awful thing that stands to hold back progress in the Steel City. And there are a lot of those. Well, you know, we used to be a trade union before the war. A lot of us are holdovers from those days, old factory hands. Sticking together now like we did then. But we take all kinds, so long as they share the goal of winning back our foul city and making it fair again. That mix makes us a rowdy bunch, but it's also our secret sauce. Our eclectic minds think of things our enemies wouldn't imagine. So we stay one step ahead, or even an inch ahead, but that's enough to keep us in the game. Quite frankly, because the odds are stacked against us. We represent civilization in the pit. Most folks up there have put that by the wayside, given in to their animal instincts. We want our home back, but we can't do it alone. That's all there is to it. If the fanatics unite the pit, they'll start marching elsewhere. That's trouble for Appalachia. Trouble for you. If that ain't motivation enough, well, I'll make it worth your while. Don't you worry. War breeds innovation. If there's one thing we have, it's that. We can build you all manner of fighting gear. Guns, grenades, armor, you name it. It'll be yours if you give us your aid. I'm the Union's inventor, quartermaster, and coordinator. I'm the brain guy. I use the know-how in this dome here of mine to help the kids in the field in any way I can. Sure thing. Can I? Of course. Will I? Also, of course. It's hell. What else can I say? What the bombs didn't level, the fanatics finished off. The air is choked with soot, the water is undrinkable, and the rads sear your skin like the sun of the Sahara. It's horrible, but it's home. No matter how bad it is or gets, we believe we can turn it around. That's what we're fighting for. Before the war? Well, it wasn't a paradise, but still a sight to behold. The Steel City, we called it. A center of industry, making anything you can imagine. When the war rolled around, we built weapons, munitions, vertibirds, power armor, robots. I suppose that's what made us a target, and left us what we are now. The fanatics are a bunch of sadists, is what they are. They bill themselves as a confederation and say they take all comers for who or what they are. That's nonsense, of course. Just an empty slogan, used to sucker in more labor for the mills. All right. Twist my arm, why don't you? Only been good at one thing in my life, and that's building things, so that's what I do. People call me a mad scientist. I built my fair share of oddities, but innovation takes risk. Parachutes sound crazy too, but they work. I'm lucky to have the time I have left after what I've been through. I'm not gonna waste it playing safe. Well, I'm a Pittsburgh man through and through. Daddy worked the steel mills hard, but I took a different route, tinkering for an armaments firm. This may surprise you, but I did everything by the book back then. Everything done to spec. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Life was stable, but boring as hell. I didn't really start living until after the bombs. They woke me up good. One good thing about making weapons of war for Uncle Sam is that they build those manufactories to last. The plant I worked in may as well have been a bunker, like one of those Vault-Tec vaults the Richies built themselves. When the bombs came down, enough stood standing to keep us lucky few alive. What came after? The Rads, the Ferals, the Fanatics. That was a real test. Well, now that you mention it, I tested a new Brahmin milker the other day. Help out the farmers around here, you know? The problem is the cost. Maybe the fusion cell is overkill for the power source? Well, okay then. Why, naturally... well...
it's all the stress, but...
I can really use a drink. But Rucker wants us sober on the job.
I think we can make this place home for a lot of people. Yourself included.
The potatoes here taste amazing. So fresh, and only a few rats.
A safe haven filled with people trying to help others? It feels like I've died and gone to heaven.
I was out scavenging for food earlier.
hell.
Only got attacked by Scorch once.
Well, seems like timing is one of your strong suits. Look, I can stitch up a gash with the best of them. But Appalachia, well, she can do a lot worse than cut us open. Got a lot of folks here with sickness we don't understand, and injuries we don't know how to treat. What we need more than anything is know-how. So I propose we trade. What I got that I don't need, for what you need that you don't got. I've heard you're looking ahead into the pit. And the only safe way out of Appalachia is that metal bird Lennox has perched up on the roof. And what keeps her in the air are those ultrasite cells Orlando keeps locked up. So, that's the deal. You bring back medical information that'll help me figure out how to help these folks, and I'll get you all the juice you need. We've narrowed down what we need to Vault-Tech's agricultural center. So, what do you say? Want to help the responders make a difference? Nice. Anything you're able to find, go ahead and bring it back to our lead medic. I'll let her know to look for you. Good luck out there.
Robot butlers? Is this a refuge? or
Robot
a
butlers?
palace?
Is this a refuge or a palace?
Bonjour! My name is Esme Rousseau, but most people around here know me as Chef Esme. We've had some representatives from Foundation and Crater come here seeking assistance with the recent influx of refugees. I thought that we could help them out by providing some food for their people. I've started a pot of venison and potato stew, one of my newest creations. Would you be able to help me finish it? How wonderful! I can't wait to whip up something delicious for everyone! The stew requires potatoes, venison, salt, black pepper, and carrots. The ingredients can be found in our storage area. Your job is to grab the ingredients and put them in before the stew burns. Super! Let's have you start by stirring the stew, which will help keep it from burning. Remember to continuously stir during the cooking process. Fantastique! Let's get the first of the ingredients and prepare them. You're looking for carrots, potatoes,
No
and the pièce de
reservation
résistance, the venison.
required. Help yourself to any table.
I heard a bunch of nerds arguing over comic book heroes yesterday. Aren't there more important things to worry about?
This bloodleaf aioli really elevates the mirelurk meat. This is smelling delicious! Let's add more flavor with some salt and pepper now.
Please, have a seat. Someone will be with you shortly.
If you hang around those raiders, I want nothing to do with you.
I love Esme's cooking. It's been so long since I've had food with actual flavor.
Can't believe we've got a vertibird. That's a step up in the world. The work I do is extremely rewarding. But boy, is it tiring.
Don't bother talking to that person from Crater. Nasty bunch, aren't they?
Superbe! Now that your stew is done, it is time to add your own special touch. A restorative element? How inspired! Delicious and useful. I am sure whoever you choose to give it to will be very appreciative. Here is your finished stew. Now, it is time to feed some of the hungry. I believe you can find the raider and settler representatives in the bar area. You must make a choice, since there is not enough to feed everyone, I'm afraid. I'll do my best to gather more ingredients so that we can cook again another time.
Are you at the refuge? We've got people going hungry, and too many mouths to feed at Foundation.
It's a shame.
Huh, I never would have thought to add a stim pack to food before. Truly inspired.
Considering all the places I could have ended up, I'm extremely lucky I'm here. I've never felt safer.
Well, hello there, stranger. Pleased to meet you. I'm Sophie Wagner. Look around. The refuge. Quite a place, isn't it? I mean, sure, fancy pants, golf club, resort, that's nice, but I'm talking about the refuge. A haven for the lost, the dispossessed, the hungry, and unfortunate. A monument to our ability to have compassion for each other. Isn't it grand? Isn't it worth preserving, building, growing? Now that's what I'm talking about. People supporting each other. You got the right spirit. Rucker's put me in charge of running a bit of a donation drive. Have you met Rucker? She's amazing, you should. Anyway, it might surprise you to know an operation like this is always churning through supplies. We work hard to keep things in stock, and that funny Orlando character does their best to help out as well, but well, we still have shortfalls. So here I am, asking generous folks such as yourself to help us fill in those gaps and keep the refuge running.
But Rucker wants a sober job.
Let me check my notes. Rucker's been in a tizzy because we just don't have enough wood to keep up. It'd be a big help if you could donate maybe 50 pieces of... That's okay. Come back if you're ready to donate. Glad to see you've returned. You do? Amazing. It just so happens I got a little something for you as a reward for your generosity. Rucker set aside some ultrasight battery cells I can spare you from the ones the WhiteSpring management doles out. Fancy a vertibird trip? They're not much use for anything else, but I got a feeling you're gonna need them. See? Mutual aid. Everybody wins. Thanks so much for the help. Drop by again. If I know Rucker, I'll be looking for something new every day. Take care of yourself.
Oh, they've really gotten set up here.
Automated warning to all responders. Mr. Farmhands are out of control. Evacuate civilians. And take down those supervisors. Once they're dealt with, we'll have to leave this server. Again.
Attention. Music is considered armed. Automated message. The Forest Watch detects all supervisors down. Good job. Responder team, proceed to the Ag Center and get to the mainframe. And reset the farmhand targeting parameters. That's it, people safe in the area. Be careful.
Potential source found. Initialize scanning protocol.
That miscreant from Crater scratched my chassis on the way in. How rude!
Heard you were out there giving us a hand. Were you able to find the hospital field guide? This looks like exactly what we needed. A proper field guide gives us a fighting chance to run this place like a real med bay. You've done the responders a great service, and now it's our turn to get to work.
Need a hand? Getting a little bored sitting around here all day.
Hey there, sport. What brings you back my way? That's right, looking for someone to help us take the fight to the Fanatics. Surprised we got a taker, actually. You are interested, right? Hell, you've got raider gangs here, right? I've heard about your Blood Eagles. The Fanatics are something like them, but more organized. Imagine every single raider gang you've ever heard got together and decided to make like Genghis Khan. Sweep over everything. Kill anyone who won't join. And put anyone too weak to fight into forced labor camps. Everything that's not theirs, they take. That's the Fanatics. And be glad they're not here. The Union is a sort of a... I guess you might call us a confederation, or a resistance. People banding together for defense. See, there's a group in the pit. Calls themselves Fanatics. All they care about is conquest. They want the whole pit for themselves. They roll into your area, you either join them, they force you to labor for them, or they kill you. And they're coming for everybody. The Union's the only thing standing between them and their total conquest of the pit. As much as we're able, anyway. Bad. Don't get me wrong, it's home, and I want us to keep it. But we got hit bad in the war, and we've never recovered. Lots of radiation. Some areas are badly toxic, with all the junk that got blasted into the air or spread around from the factories. People are sick a lot, from one thing or another, and food can be hard to come by. Hell, some of the city's still on fire, I think. But some of the factories survived, and we got them running. Gives us access to things you can't get anywhere else. Might even be able to rebuild, if it weren't for the Fanatics. Because it's home, damn it. Mine, ours, all of us who were born and lived there before and after the bombs. Ain't that enough? If the Fanatics are out of the picture, we can rebuild. Make something out of it again. It doesn't have to stay like it is. If that ain't enough for you, picture this. A horde of Fanatics, hundreds, thousands strong, setting their sights here. Sound like something you want? The Union's back's against the wall. We're doing our best to hold off the Fanatics. Keep them from taking everything. Occasionally, we win some small victories, but not a lot. Got a couple of situations back there right now where an extra hand might tip things in our favor, at least for now. I don't want to call it mercenary work, but I'm not gonna lie. You'll be going there to fight. Fantastic. Let me just get Rucker in here. It's her bird, after all. Thanks for coming by, Rucker. Looks like we got a volunteer to take a trip out to the pit.
We've met. Had a feeling you might be up for this when you came by earlier. Guess I was right.
Figured you should be involved, if we're gonna borrow your plane.
Don't let Lennox hear you call it a plane. She takes it personally. Anyway, sure thing. I guess you've already got all the Ultra cells you need. I know you've got mine. Sophie and Esme tell me you helped them out too, so I expect you got theirs as well.
Well, we got two different locals I know are in need of help. Locals are what we call union groups that act independently. Local 42's in the industrial district. Hex, their leader, is struggling to keep her people alive and retake a foundry from the Fanatics. We got another over in the trench working against a Fanatic forced labor camp. Danilo is your contact there. Haven't heard from the other locals recently, but I'm sure we'll be hearing from them if they got trouble too. It's up to you who you want to help right now. Maybe you'll consider going back again later for the other. No can do, sport. I'll go back one day, but right now, I'm more use here, rustling up support to send back there. I'm not young enough to be much use on the front lines anymore. Fair enough. Well,
Well, I can answer that, Skippy. First of all, we've got refugees here from the pit. People who've made it all the way down on foot or in caravans. And the best way to help that situation is to help people not need to flee the pit in the first place. Second, The Union's the best chance of stability the Pitt's got. The responders don't just want a triage in the world. We want to help it rebuild one day. We'll need allies to do that.
It doesn't hurt that we've got factories that can still make manufactured goods either.
No, it does not.
I prefer volunteers to suckers. I'm not running some kind of scam here.
The answer is no, by the way. We run some regular sorties, trade some supplies, carry messages. Our radios don't reach that far, so communication's either us or waiting for caravans.
Great. This means a lot to the Union. I'll make sure you're well rewarded for it. I might have some other things I need help with here in Appalachia, too. I'll let you know. Good luck up there. We're counting on you.
Been a long time coming, but the responders are back.